So now we've got the number 3 shape still selected, and we're going to go into the graphic styles, and select and do a new graphic style. That brings that up. Double click it. We're going to name it number. Okay, so it's numbers. Now, in the Appearance Panel tab, you will see now that the path name is numbers, so that is already applied to that. Go into the Layers panel now, and we're going to click on the background layer and turn the lock off, and select the black background, and now go back over to your not appearance, to your graphic styles, and click on number, and that's going to apply that to the entire background. Now the problem with that is that the graphic style actually makes this so that it's not particularly legible. So this is basically to show you how you can take and apply everything, because it's just not going to work wonderfully. So now go back in, and you might have to click around a little bit to get it, but select that number 3 again. In the graphics panel, you'll see that that style is selected. Go back to your appearance panel, and we see that numbers is up at top, and this is just another way to check that the graphic style is applied. So now we're going to break this again, because we're going to make a change. We're going to change the fill back to the purple. Okay, now that actually got rid of that link, but what we're going to do next is we're going to re-import a graphic style. So if you're on Mac, you're going to hold down your Option key. With my Windows, I'm going to hold down the Alt button, and I'm going to click on that 3, and I'm going to drag a copy of that onto the graphic styles sheet and over the top of numbers, and that changes everything. Now that's all well and good, but again, we still cannot see our letter up here in the corner. So what we're going to do next is select that background, go into Appearance, and apply no fill to that, or no appearances to it, which is going to clean that up, make that white again. And this time, because we need to be able to see what's going on back there, click on the fill and select a black fill for that. And now we'll be able to read everything that's on there, and our number 3 comes up. Next, we are going to work on the application of a graphic style to a full layer. So when you apply to a style to a full layer, of course it's going to put everything on, everything on that layer is going to get that style applied to it. So what we're going to do next is put a drop shadow. That's one of the default things that's in styles, and we're going to put that onto the layer. It's this one right here. It's a drop shadow, and what we're going to do next is go into the layers and select the text layer. Don't just select the text layer though, select the target, which is going to pull up all of the text on that layer. And now go back into your appearance, or rather your graphic styles, and apply this to everything in that layer. And it's going to take it just a second, but shortly you'll see it pop up. The target icon is shaded. If you go back to layers, which means that the filter has been applied to it, and if you go into your appearance panel, you will see that layer drop shadow, so that you know that the drop shadow is applied to everything on that layer. So again, you can deselect and save. If you're going to apply multiple graphic styles, which is something you can do. I'm on the bottom of page 355. You can option click or alt click on the window to add more a second graphic style onto an object that already has one applied to it. So yes, you can stack them. Next, we are going to work with scaling, strokes, and effects. I'm on the top of page 356. When you scale content in Illustrator, the default is that your strokes and effects don't change. So if you scaled a little tiny circle that's got a 2-point stroke on it, and make it really big, that 2-point stroke is not going to change. It's just going to be 2 points. Sometimes you want that appearance to scale because sometimes that's not going to fit. So suppose you have a large circle with a 15-point stroke on it, and you take that down to a small circle. That 15-point stroke is going to stay, and it's going to really look odd. So things like that don't work correctly, so you have to actually say that you want to scale something proportionally. So we're going to select the trumpet group and just click on one of the letters up here, and that is going to either the X, the Y, the W, or the H. It's going to bring up your transform panel, and it doesn't matter which one. You get the same dialog box. Make sure that the height and width are linked, so you want the link to be connected. And you're going to, and actually you could have done this right up here by linking up here and typing into the width or section right up here. In fact, I'm going to do that just because all I need to do is select this and put in 12.7. I'm making sure that this is selected, and I hit my tab, and it's going to automatically resize my trumpet. The only reason that you had for this was to make sure that scale, strokes, and effects is checked. Mine was already checked. Yours probably wouldn't have been. So you needed to go back in and make sure that that scale was checked. If you did it, if you followed what I did and you did not do that, just hit undo. Go back to File, Undo, or Control Z to back out of making that larger. Check this and make the change here in the drop down. I like to use my scale, strokes, and effects almost always turned on, so I expect those things to scale for me. The next thing that we're going to do, well, actually, if you remember, we applied the drop shadow to that layer, and if we looked now to separately to see what the drop shadow is, which actually we could probably go into and find, but we would have to ungroup all of this, we would find that the drop shadow on this particular item, because of the layer it was on, this would have gotten larger from what it was. So we're good, we're fine, we're clean with this. You can deselect, you can save, and do make sure that you do a save as, and change this to a PDF. Now I'm going to have you do a slightly different PDF this time. I'm not going to have as much control, but to be honest with you, if you save this out as the PDF that we normally would, it's going to be something like a 49 meg file, which is just absolutely too large, and I don't want you to have to deal with that. We're going to make a smaller file that's going to be easier for you to upload, but I am going to be limited on what I can see that you've done. What I want you to do is go to File, you're going to do a Save As, and I am going to pick up this and go to my PDF file, and I'm going to do save, and I'm going to get a notice that says I've already saved it, and do I want to replace it? I'm going to say yes. When the dialog box comes up, instead of the normal press quality that we've done, I'm going to do press quality, but I'm going to deselect preserve Illustrator editing capabilities, and then I'm going to say save PDF. This is going to give you a dialog box that says this will cause, some editing issues, but I'm going to say OK. And this is going to make a much smaller file size, but I will tell you that I will not be able to see quite as much of your file as I have in the past. What it's going to come up and look like to me is going to be very limited. So in this PDF, on mine right now, because I haven't closed it, I can still access some items. But once I close this and I go File and I open my PDF again, and see it's only going to be approximately 9 megs. But once I open this, that's been pre-made, and this is the file that what it would look like. It's going to be a single layer, and it's going to come up looking like this, just like if it was collapsed. I'm going to have not be able to actually see issues. So if you have had problems with this, and I look at this and I go, something doesn't look right, I may have to contact you. We'll text back and forth and that sort of thing. But this is going to be a much easier file, and it's going to take you a whole lot less time to import it. But I may have questions if something doesn't look right to me. If it looks like you were having issues, or you tell me you had issues, I may have to have you email it to me or something like that. But we will have to do a smaller file because of the file sizes. You can't upload really large files on anything. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, contact me in messages, and I'll be really happy to help you if I can.